but also known as Christ I Am Disciple, aka Anson Phillip. Actually, Christ I Am Disciple on this channel. And we're going to talk a little bit about how a simple situation got complicated. Okay? So, let me start off with a piece of scripture. Fundamental scripture. It's all about love. John 3:16. This is my anchor. I love to talk about it. I was born in the month of love. I'm a love child. So that's why I come back to it all the time. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved this world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but live forever." Now let me explain how a simple thing gets complicated and why I'm giving you why I find it very sad but strange. But yet at the same time, I'm going to talk about focus as well on some other things that are developing and hopefully how those go. All right, so when we look at Zach's movies, whether it's Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, or Zack Snyder's Justice League, whether it's a movie he's been involved in like Wonder Woman, right? You look at those sets of movies and you see a particular style that Zack Snyder has. When you look at Wonder Woman, not Wonder Woman 84, not Wonder Woman 84, but if you look at Wonder Woman, there's a certain style when it comes to action that Zack has that you see in that movie. If you look at Birds of Prey, again, there's certain movements in that movie where, again, reminds you a lot of Zack's style. Even, I believe, the Suicide Squad, certain aspects of, again, Zack's style. Now, Zack's style is more like, sort of like, it reminds me of Jet Li movies and Japanese and Chinese martial arts movies, or The Matrix, where certain scenes which are really, really fast are slowed down and you see them, with a panning camera. The camera will be panning around the scene. You get these unique angles and unique visualizations. And just the beauty of the violence is very interesting. Or the action. It may not be violence, it may be action. So that's what Zack Snyder kind of brought to comic book movies. It wasn't something that it was unique to him alone. I mean, the Wachowski brothers was doing it with Bullet Time a while back, and they kind of revolutionized the thing. And they brought from the East what already was in the East martial arts movies to the West. Now, the set of movies I just talked about, which copy Zack's style from the Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey copied his style. Who else copied his style? Now, Shazam was kind of using super speed, so it more felt like a CW kind of feel, how they kind of did it, because it was kind of cheap. But, again, a sort of copy of what Zack was doing somewhat. And then you had Aquaman, which had its own unique style. That's James Wan. James Wan does things James Wan's way, and that had its own unique style to it. But you look at Wonder Woman, Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, you look at, of course, Zack Snyder's Justice League, you look at BVS, you look at Man of Steel, and you see not only the super speed, but you also see the slow motion to slow down very, very fast situations, right? And particularly Patty Jenkins liked what Zack was doing because she could show details. And one of the other very important things about the action that Zack does is, and Patty Jenkins does the same thing, is he puts meaning to the action. What I mean by that is they're able to show you subtle things, showing you the character of the person and not just their fight style. See, the thing with Zack and also with Patty Jenkins in her directing of Wonder Woman particularly, and other movies she's done, is they really work on subtleties that have to do with the character of the individual. In fact, if this individual was not called Wonder Woman, or wasn't called Batman, or wasn't called Superman, it would still be a movie on people. And I think that's the principal thing. They look at the humanity or the people behind the mythos. And so that's what Zach does very, very well. That's what Patty Jenkins does exceptionally well and very subtly with the Wonder Woman movie. She was able to highlight certain attributes and things about women and about a society led by women, and also about sort of pure values when it comes to a sort of not utopian society per se, but a society in which uh, people learn to work together. All right, and so there was a lot going on uh, with Wonder Woman, the movie. I mean, that movie is quite a movie. And you know, as I said before, a lot of people talk about Patty's not a good director. That's bullshit. Patty's a great director. If you've ever seen Monster, I mean, that thing got awards and stuff. All right, she's an exceptional director, especially when it comes to highlighting certain attributes about people and quality. So Patty really harmonized with Zach on that. I wish she had worked more with Zach than with Jeff Johns. I just have a feeling Patty and Jeff Johns get along well. Patty is able to do certain things with Jeff Johns. Not saying that let me just make this abundantly clear. Jeff Johns is not necessarily a bad writer or a bad anything. Okay? He's not bad. It's just when it comes to movies, all right? Because he came up with some great comics and he's a great creative. I just don't think movies and Jeff Johns fit together, especially if he's leading out on a movie. It just doesn't work. It's better if somebody else is leading out and he is sort of supplying information, you know, has a limited creative input into those movies. Because every single time he had a creative input, like into Patty's Wonder Woman, for example, it it was the part that most people critique and most people were like, what the hell is this? Right? You know, and he's always, because he's so contrarian to Zach, he tries to go against Zach. He tries to sabotage Zach and then steal his stuff. You know, he's not really an advantage or a positive. He's not a plus for you, because see, if you go against Zach, Zach's not going to go against you. Zach lets you do whatever you want to do. But if you go against Zach, what happens is Zach has a certain way of approaching things. So if you're just going to be a contrarian for contrarian's sake, you're going to really end up losing your audience and losing the people who like Zach's movies for the character and the qualities of the protagonist in his movie and even the antagonist in his movies. Because Zach doesn't just come on a superficial level. People like to say Zach's a shallow director and all that. He's not superficial at all. So clearly, because I'm still watching Man of Steel, I'm still watching Zack Snyder's Justice League and Batman v Superman. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is the best of them, not because of, again, not for the loaded content in them, but for the way how Zack, after he has sort of deconstructed these guys, how he builds them back up. To me, that's just wonderful. Right? But to get back to my point, so Patty Jenkins was the best possible person to do the Wonder Woman movie. Even though Zack Snyder has his version of Wonder Woman, I'm sure we'd love to see that as well. I truly believe Patty brought a feminine energy to Wonder Woman that is unparalleled. Okay? And while she absolutely missed the boat with Wonder Woman 84, and it seems as though she's going to proceed with the third Wonder Woman movie, which has to do with the Amazons, which is not, again, nothing bad about that. I'd love to see what she's doing with it, but I have a strange feeling the story's going to be weak. Even though she does come with unique takes on her stories, I give her that. But I think her story's going to be weak. And I think if she's pairing up with Jeff Johns, she doesn't have Zack Snyder or the people, the stunt team, or any kind of affiliation with Zack on that, I just think the combination's not going to work out well. Hold on a second, people. I'll be right back. I'm gonna just drop this phone. It's gonna look weird. 3, 2, 1, boom. It's gonna be a little strange. Don't worry about it. I'll be right back. I'm cooking food. And my food's cooked. Okay, I'm back. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okie dokie. Mm-hmm. So, Patty's a great director, in my opinion. I still maintain that. I just think there are certain things she doesn't do very well. She has to get it crystallized. But she's a great director. And she's a great, generally a very great person. Of course, another thing that kind of messed her up was the way our WB just kind of streamed her stuff while she's also trying to put it into theaters, so that kind of affected her as well. Did it to Nolan as well. Patty and Nolan was like, what are you doing? Here's what it is. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, Black Adam, here's where it gets weird, right? If you look at Black Adam, you could tell there's a deliberate attempt to have the movie more grounded and the action to really closely resemble that of Zack Snyder's movies. I mean, they're going out of their way to do it. And it looks fantastic, by the way. It's not as good as Zack's stuff. Zack has a wild factor and stuff up in the sky. But Black Adam looks fantastic. I mean, I look at the movie, it looks fantastic. And the cinematography looks really good. Still got some cringe in it. Seems to have a unique take on individuals, heroes and stuff like that. So that's good. And here's a weird thing. This movie seems to be trying to be a Snyderverse movie without acknowledging the Snyderverse, which I find very sad. So, Black Adam seems to be trying to imitate almost everything that happens in the Snyderverse. But apparently, the Superman that's in Black Adam is not Snyderverse Superman. It seems as though it's trying to be its own universe. So, they're trying to have their own self-contained thing. Let me tell you why this is so confusing and why it makes it so complicated. For the average fan, going into the cinema to watch this, they're going to see it. It's going to remind them of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, even Zack Snyder's Justice League, because a lot of people watch it. But they're going to be confused about how is the Justice League associated with Amanda Waller? Why is she heading them? Superman, the last time I saw Superman, he was in a black suit. Why is he now in the blue? They're going to have a lot of questions. Why is John Williams' score playing for Superman? Then they're going to get flashbacks of just a bad movie like Justice League 2017, and they're going to be like, what is this? It's going to confuse the daylights of some people who don't, and they're not in the know like we are. And it didn't have to be. If it's such a good fit for the Snyderverse, because it looks like a reality in the Snyderverse. Because if you look at Black Adam, it easily could fit into the Snyderverse. Easily. And Zack Snyder said that. It's cinematography, the movement of the characters and everything emulates the Snyderverse. So why not put it in the Snyderverse? But no. Looks like they want to have it either in the Amadaverse or in Dwayne The Rock Johnson's own separate universe, which is just retarded. And Fandango seemed to be, they were trying to kind of push it so that we link the Snyderverse with Black Adam. Let me tell you why that's such a great thing. Now, I know comic book movies could be like comic books. So you could have an issue introducing Black Adam that has nothing to do with the universe that is the Snyderverse. And then you could introduce Black Adam into the Snyderverse. You know what I mean? So I get it. But it can confuse a lot of viewers what they see in one movie and then they think is I've seen people confuse between Nolan's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman. Confuse the daylights out of them. Like, Batman doesn't kill, because in Nolan's Batman was saying, I have one rule, right? And there are different iterations of a character. You have the same actor playing two separate iterations of the same character. We've seen it with Justice League 2017, which is not Zack Snyder's Superman at all. It's Whedon-Johns, baby. And then we saw same Henry Cavill playing Zack Snyder's version of Zack Snyder, David Goyer, Chris Terrier's version, Christopher Nolan's version of Superman. And you guys need to understand. Food tastes good. It's not just Zack Snyder's Superman. In fact, if we have to be proper, the Superman we continuously see on the screen in Zack Snyder's movies is David Goyer's brainchild. It's David Goyer's Superman. Which is why David Goyer was the guy that tried to get Krypton done. But again, he was doing it with Jeff Johns, and Jeff Johns kind of took it over. And sad is all I can say. But it's really David Goyer's Superman. It's David Goyer's idea off of having written the Dark Knight trilogy for Christopher Nolan. So it's really Nolan who recommended Zack Snyder. David Goyer was the writer, the original writer, and then he became Chris Terrier. Zack Snyder is the director that brought the actors and stuff to life, the character to life. So it's really a combination of those guys. The Superman you saw in Justice League 2017, which is going on into Shazam, and I do believe that's the same Superman, because just based on Hamada's words and Jeff Johns' promotion, I wouldn't be surprised that is the 2017 Superman we saw in Justice League, and that in that universe, that Superman that's coming to see Black Adam never wore the black suit and doesn't have the Hans Zimmer score. So it's like they branched off at Justice League 2017. Try to go back more to the Christopher Reeve Superman using Henry Cavill. You understand? They try to force that. It failed in 2017. It failed in Shazam. That's why Henry wasn't there. And I don't know if it'll have success in Black Adam. Okay? But Black Adam is not in the Snyderverse. But he could have kept it simple so we could focus on one thing and then we could have gone back to Zack Snyder's Justice League as canon. With this Superman that he's going to bring, it's going to make us go back to Justice League 2017, whether you like it or not. But that was the way how the movie was going anyway because of Hamada. And the thing about it is Superman wasn't even supposed to come back. He wasn't even supposed to have Superman in there. And we weren't even supposed to have the Justice League in there. These are reshoots according to Sil Nation. Shout out to Sil and Mikey Sutton. These were supposed to be reshoots. So why would you reshoot something like that? Unless Hamada still has some pull, Jeff Johns has some pull. Or Jeff Johns probably influenced the regime there to go that way. And the regime probably doesn't know much about Zack Snyder's Justice League like that. And so they were influenced by them, the executives. I'm believing Jeff Johns is the one who is manipulating things in the background. That's why Zack couldn't have his Green Lanterns inside of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I have a feeling Jeff Johns is able to manipulate these executives. I believe it's Zack versus Jeff Johns all the way. Jeff Johns trying to make it hard for Zack every step of the way. Meanwhile, Jeff Johns is messing up the DCEU. Just stay out the way. You're not a creative like that. Refuses the authority on this and that and the other and is trying to force his way instead of letting the real creatives who do movies do their job. That's the problem with Jeff Johns. He doesn't understand what he does well or what he doesn't do well. He's trying to attain power over something that he's not good at. You see? And the sooner he understands that, the better. It would be really good for DC. Because if he can just get out the way, now we can actually have the DCEU that will thrive and do well. And then they will look for his contributions where he fits in. Okay? And that's the thing Jeff Johns needs to understand. He's trying to MCU up the DCEU, but the DCU didn't become good or popular and loved by the fandom because it was the MCU, and he's still trying to do it. To this day, he's still trying to do that. He's still around, people. Hamada may be gone, but Johns is still there. And like a lot of people said, you get rid of Jeff Johns, most of your problems are over. But that's hard to do because he has such connections and rapport with the executives of Warner Brothers. He fandangles his way into relationships to manipulate people. But he's not a good creative when it comes to movies. He just isn't. His track record is horrible. So we have a quandary here. And that's why I said WBD, y'all dropping the ball all the time. Y'all dropping the ball. There are fans out here you could hire for pennies who would take that Henry Cavill Superman and make him a black suit Superman. Easy. 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 They do a better job than the professionals in your industry. Okay? There are fans out here who have suggested to WBD the Hans Zimmer score for Superman showing up to meet Black Adam. That would be ominous. They've already suggested it. You got fans doing this stuff. And it's good. It's good quality stuff. You're not tapping into your fandom. You're playing good old boys club. This is what you're going to get. You're not going to get the success you're looking for. And David Zaslav, he loves results. He's going to put all that money into Black Adam. And Black Adam underperforms. Zaslav is going to cancel everything. The Rock ain't going to have nothing. So, I don't know why The Rock is so stupid. Like, Black Suit Superman, Hans Zimmer theme, fit it in. Some of your stuff's not aligned with the Snyderverse. We don't have to dispute everything. Like, for example, Amanda Waller right now leading the Justice League or whatever. Maybe that's a phase. We don't know what that's about. But suffice it, if she called them in or whatever, suffice it to say this. Whatever it is, you know, that can be explained. What cannot be explained away is you trying to have a separate universe to a universe you're already replicating. Why would we want to see a second universe when you already have one that you're replicating? Why? You want to have a uniquely different universe if you're going to do a separate universe. You know, these are things that don't make no sense. So we know Jeff Johns and Walter Hamada were trying to replace the Justice League. Obviously, this regime wants the Justice League by any means necessary, and you probably settle on a compromise to have the Justice League in the Black Adam movie by introducing a blue suit Supes. Because they don't understand that it has to be a black suit Supes coming off a Snyder cut. They don't understand continuity. So they don't understand that really we need this movie to be continuous with, if you're really going for the Snyderverse, it needs to be continuous with Snyderverse. So what's ending up with is the Black Adam's going to be something separate from the Snyderverse. This is why when people say, oh, well, listen, Black Adam has to do well so we could have the Snyderverse. No, not at all. If they had linked themselves to the Snyderverse, absolutely. If Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did Black Suit Superman with the Hans Zimmer theme, and he synced up everything correctly with the Snyderverse, we got it. We got to support it. We wouldn't have a choice. Some of us would be mad or whatever, Jeff Johns, whatever. But we would have to support it because we would realize, hey, it's a part of the Snyderverse. This dude is unapologetically saying this thing is connected to the Snyderverse. We got to do it. See, The Rock needs to understand something. He learned from Jason Momoa. The reason everybody supported Jason Momoa is because he was hard on supporting the Snyderverse. That's what The Rock needed to do. But his ego, and the fact that he was close to Toby Emmerich, Walter Hamada, and Jeff Johns, kept him from doing what he originally wanted to do. He originally, before all of this, you know, he was the guy hyping up BVS. He was like, I love BVS with Kevin Hart. You know? Now he had to be in favor with the next regime so his film could come out, and they just really tainted him up. They messed him up. You know, he should be dying to be a part of the Snyderverse. But the way how they're going, how you explain that? You know, I guess there's a way to explain it. Somehow Superman from another dimension was able to travel across to Black Adam from the Justice League universe. And maybe Amanda Waller was able to. I don't know. It's hard to explain that away. I'm sure they can figure out something. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like they dropped the ball on this movie. You know? And I noticed that Jeff Johns and all these people in the DC have been copying Zack. There's only like James Wan didn't copy him. Patty in the second movie did not copy Zack Snyder. I'm telling you that right now. No way, Jose. Right? But most of the directors they try to copy aspects of Zack's stuff. You know, and again, and David Sandberg didn't really copy him. And my point to the whole thing is this. Okay? You don't want to use Zack Snyder's name to try and get his fans to support you. And they're going to need our fans. They're going to need us. They're going to need the so-called Snyder fans to support this upcoming movie. You know, if it's going to do reasonably well, at least. So, some people are looking at it objectively and they say, "Oh, this is a good movie, man. I'm going to watch it. This is cool." That's your right. But some people, they're trying to go in on fans who said they're not watching it. I'm trying to guilt trip them. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Even the fans who seemingly seem to be bashing the movie and calling it names or whatever. I've called it a Walter Hamada burger. I think it's a Hamada burger, even those fans, I don't think you should bash them. They're free to say whatever they want to say. All right? Now, if you like the movie, but you haven't seen it, I can understand you being upset about it, but once again, fans are going to say whatever they want to say. All right? That's the age we are in. But my thing is this. If you feel you need to go see Black Adam, then go see it. But off of principle, I'm not going to go see that movie. I'm just not. I'm not boycotting anything. I was never that interested in Black Adam to start with. I was going to go see Black Adam because of the introduction of Henry Cavill Superman into Black Adam, and I wanted to see the direction that Warner Brothers Discovery was going. So that was my fuel to go. It wasn't because I was caught up in Black Adam. I'm like, wow, man, Black Adam. Oh yeah. I'm really excited to see it. I wasn't that excited to see Black Adam, right? So what I'm saying to people is not, I'm going to hate you because you go see Black Adam. No, feel free. I don't bash people for going to see the movie. One thing is, if you're in a conversation with me and you're trying to call me a Snyder cultist or you're trying to call me an idiot or a fool, I'm just going to say, I'm going to lay out the facts for you. Then I want to tell you, go ahead and enjoy your Hamada burger. Okay? I'm going to tell you straight like that. Because some people, and not everybody, I respect Leroy Cohn, for example. He's not one of them. But some people, they would take whatever Warner Brothers gives them and say, thank you very much, and they will watch it. Okay? Some people are like that. I am not like that. I'm not going to take my hard-earned money, go into the theater, and watch a lump of shit. I'm just not going to do that. Okay, that's not the way how I go. I always like to get movies that I know when I leave the cinema, it makes me different to when I came into the cinema. Okay, so not intrigued about Black Adam like that. It looks visually, it looks pretty good. You know, there's some cringe inside of that movie though. Some stuff that I just don't want to see. So it balances off. You know what I mean? And it's PG-13. I can see why now because it crack a lot of jokes in the movie, which is again a Jeff Johns thing. You know, Jeff Johns like them kind of movies. So I don't know if Black Adam would be a movie I like actually, but I may go through it. You know, it's hardcore in the beginning at least. When he's awakened, it's hardcore. But I don't know if it's a movie I really like. You know what I mean? um, so it is what it is. Now, but I did want to go see it day one because I was excited about the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery looked like they was about to restore the Snyderverse through it. The movie was going to be directly linked to the Snyderverse. So I was like, Black Suit Superman? Are you serious? That means Hans Zimmer theme? You know, I was like, I was amped after that. And it had nothing to do with the movie itself because I didn't know what the movie was about. It more had to do with the fact that they was going to link it to the Snyderverse. And, of course, different people have different opinions. So, like Damian Anson Vincent, my good friend, he was like, hell no, don't link that to the Snyderverse. He was like, no, let it stand on its own. Some people were like, Henry going into that movie? Why is Henry doing that? Some people were that far. They were like, Henry, stay away from those kinds of movies. Ah, man. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I think it should do, like I said before, it should do, well, I don't know how well it's going to do. Okay? Cavill being in the movie is going to be a plus for it, I'm sure. Cavill in the movie is going to be a plus for it. You know, hey, man, a triumph is not flopping at the box office for now for DC. The bar is very low. Last movie flopped at the box office, and that was The Suicide Squad. Super Pets was flopped at the box office. So DC ain't been doing well at all when it comes to movies in theater. You know, how many flops have they had in a row? They've had 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 flops in a row. So they ain't doing too good, okay? Hopefully Black Adam could break that. And that's all they hope. You know, I would, that's my expectation for it. That at least it doesn't flop, you know? But I'm telling y'all right now, you know, I think it's just dumb what they're doing. But does anybody ever say that Warner Bros. Is doing something really smart? Not really. All right, they have a history of doing dumb stuff, and I think it's because Jeff Johns is there influencing these executives. Why do they listen to this dude? Tell this dude go write a comic book. You know, go write a comic book, buddy. You know what I mean? Man, don't listen to that dude. Anyways, the Ayer cut. On November the 5th, David Ayer is supposed to do a screening of the Ayer cut to the new executives of Warner Bros. Discovery. Okay? That's November the 5th. So, guys, that whole entire day is dedicated to restore the Snyderverse, release the Ayer cut, and you can do it in whatever creative way you want in terms of art, in terms of snippets of, you know, information or clips you can find from the Ayer cut. I started off already today and probably going to do something about the Ayer cut almost every day, or schedule things from my phone to do almost every day. And also, I'm going to, you know, talk about the journey to get to this point, because this is another epic milestone if we get through with the Ayer cut, especially if it's released. As David Zaslav said, movies that are for theater or for cinema should be released in cinema. It would be nice if ultimately, in the end, it is released in the cinemas, whether it's early next year or late this year. You know, different people have different opinions. Sil was saying that hopefully by the end of the year, we'll see the air cut in theaters. That was what his scoop was saying. But the restore the release the air cut, an actual Twitter handle that actually saw the air cut. David Ayer actually showed it to him. Um, he was saying that he doesn't see it as happening this year, but then he came back and said he hopes that it could be this year. You know, but they are more on that scene. So Sil may not be as deeply involved in that as the guy who actually saw David Ayer and talked with him and everything. You know, so I'm not disrespecting nobody out here. Um, of course, Sil's a scooper. That's what he do. You know, he's been pretty accurate in his scoops, so that's what he does. Of course, when it comes to David Ayer's material, the air cut people would be more on that than Sil would be on it, obviously, because that's what they do all day, right? But having said all of that, again, I don't have no disrespect for none of them. Sil, Mikey Sutton, I have respect for those dudes as scoopers. I think they're the best scoopers out there right now. Sil and Mikey Sutton been calling stuff since 2 years ago. The best guys at covering the air cut would obviously be the Twitter handle, the air cut. They've been pushing it, promoting it, etc. We've been riding along with them. Of course, release the Snyder cut, release the air cut handle, Twitter handle is also, they've been around for like forever. Before the air cut even came up, before Sil and all these guys were there, these guys were, from the foundation, from way back in the day, from 2017 onwards, right? And remember, again, I wasn't always with, I wasn't always on the same page with everybody, right? Even though I was a big advocate for BVS and a big advocate for Man of Steel, I keep on repeating this over and over, I wasn't on board with everybody else when Justice League 2017 came out. And I was trying to defend that movie, right? If you guys do remember. So I can identify with what's happening right now where some people are trying to defend Black Adam. But the very same arguments they're making is the same arguments I made for Justice League 2017 with respect to the Superman. So please do understand, I said Justice League 2017 was Zack Snyder's creation, even though it was changed a bit and stuff. That's bullshit. All right. And just similarly, the Superman and Black Adam is not Snyder's Superman. It's just not. Okay? It's not. And it's probably Justice League 2017 Superman. Because they're doing the very same things they did with Justice League 2017 Superman. And they say, well, no, that Superman was really started with Christopher Reeves. Okay, then. So we can call him the Christopher Reeve Superman. It don't work. The Christopher Reeve Superman doesn't work. That's why Justice League 2017 didn't work. So Shazam didn't make all that money it was supposed to make. And that's the same reason why in this Black Adam thing that they're trying to push that Superman again, it's going to fail. Why do they not understand that Superman, when it comes to movies, maybe he can do it in a TV show. And mind you, Superman and Lois doesn't use that theme. I'm just saying, they don't. For their movie. They have played it. I think they played it in their series, but they don't use that theme. They use something else. Smallville didn't use that theme. You know why Smallville moved away from it? Because they realized people are not connecting with it as much anymore. They still do it in the cartoons sometimes, but not any. The modern cartoons, no. And the reason is times have changed. Times have changed. But Jeff John want to hold on to that. So fine. I'm not saying that it can't be used, mind you. But you're undermining Hans Zimmer's score with a Zack Snyder Justice League Superman. Why are you trying to do all of these different themes when this Superman already has a theme? This is what David Zaslav is trying to do. He's trying to uniform everything and get it established. You establish this is the Superman for this universe. So Zack Snyder's Justice League Superman should be the Superman for the universe. It's the superior Superman. The other Superman from Justice League 2017, which what do you want to call it, Reed Superman, whatever, is not working. It doesn't work. So leave that alone. If you want to go back to John Williams' theme and even slip it in with the Hans Zimmer theme, you can do it. It has been done. In fact, in the animated, the 52-year anniversary of Superman with Zack Snyder and what's the guy's name? I can't remember right now. Tim Burns put together. It started off with the John Williams score, and it went into the Hans Zimmer score. And in fact, I can show you how you can, with Superman Rising theme that Junkie XL has, you can actually hear the John Williams score inside of the Hans Zimmer score because they can be fit together. I'm a musician. I know how to do it, right? You can interchange them with each other, and you can even fit them inside of each other, right? So it can be done. But what I'm saying is not that. That's not my point. My point is establish the Superman of the universe. You want to have one Superman for the universe for now. You don't want 2, 3, 4, 5 of them and the same actor playing all 5. That confuses everybody. Okay? And that's what they're doing. They're complicating a simple situation. If you had a whole year to work on Black Adam and to refine it, why the hell Black Adam isn't facing black suit Superman? Why is it that your history lesson is still off? There's nothing wrong with Black Adam being 5,000 years old, but why are you saying he's the only power that was existing? What kind of nonsense is that? So fix the stuff. Because if you want to have the Justice League in that universe, then you can't say that he's more powerful than the Justice League and all of that. That doesn't make no sense. You know, and I'm sure Jeff Johns played to The Rock's ego. Oh, you're going to have all this universe to play with. That's what he probably was saying. So now The Rock need to back down from that and fit into the Snyderverse, where he will thrive even better. He will have more fame. He will have everything else better than if he was to try and launch his own universe with an unknown character and a whole bunch of unknown characters. Let's be realistic here. Guardians of the Galaxy was an extremely successful movie, and nobody knew the characters. They were like unknown, right? In the case of Black Adam, and it made 700 and something million, right? Black Adam's in that same boat. They have to do an outstanding job just to get close to that figure. Okay? David Ayer's The Suicide Squad had known characters. It had Batman in it, Flash. It had the Joker in it. Okay? So that was able to garner that kind of money. You have to understand, you're going up against a lot of super big comic books movies. You can't come half crow and feel you're going to dominate these movies by bringing up an unknown character that nobody's heard about, and everybody in that movie is almost unknown except for Superman. The reason why people are going to see Black Adam is because of Superman. Because they know who Superman is. But they know the Superman that's the Henry Cavill Superman. That is Zack Snyder's Superman. They don't know, they don't want to know, and they don't want to remember the Justice League Superman. So why are you going with the lesser known Superman to start with? Why don't you go with the Zack Snyder's? Like all of this doesn't make any sense to me. Okay? I'm a guy, I follow logic, I follow reasoning. I can't understand why you wouldn't ride the Zack Snyder Justice League wave. Why wouldn't you ride that wave with the Black Adam movie? Zack Snyder Justice League movie was just, it did exceptionally well. It even has, I think, Zack Snyder's highest critical rating aside from his Dawn of the Dead. Okay? Aside from his Dawn of the Dead movie, and I think his 300 movie, this is his highest rating. So in terms of DCEU movies, this is his highest rating, Zack Snyder. So I don't understand how you don't ride off of that. Like Zack was firing on all cylinders with that movie. I'm just saying. So, and why would you try to remind people of Justice League 2017 by bringing back a character from there? Like all of these things don't make any sense to me. They make no sense to me as a fan and as somebody in entertainment. Like, why would you do that? Oh, because it's the blue suit. Yeah, everybody loves the blue suit. No. No. The last time Superman was in a blue suit was Shazam. How did that work out? I mean, I don't know what kind of reasoning these people have, but man, it's whack, and it just hurts their bottom line. It hurts their box office. Like they can't seem to think straight to get proper box office. You know, and I think Jeff Johnson has something to do with that. Gotta get rid of that dude. That dude is a curse on Warner Brothers. It just is. Get rid of him. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to people that talk with him because he's just giving the worst ideas ever to DC. DC is just running into the ground, and eventually, I know how this game plays. They want Disney to buy over DC. That's what's going on. That's the end game. So let's not give them that. The execs need to be smart enough to understand that. David says, you don't want to sell Warner Brothers? Then don't listen to Jeff Johns. He's going to screw up your whole idea of what you want to do. Don't listen to him, and don't listen to the stupid people who keep on telling you stupid ideas. Because all that hard work and all that money you poured into the Black Adam, you're not going to get those kinds of returns that you're looking for. This movie has been on a sustained attack since San Diego Comic-Con. People have just been super disappointed. They've been dropping the ball left, right, and center constantly because they're giving the fans what they don't want to see. We don't want to see no damn Justice League 2017 Superman. We do not want to see Justice League 2017. That is a bad memory on DC. So could you please stop it? You need Henry Cavill. You need Superman to build up the profile for the Black Adam movie. Because that's the only known character other than Amanda Waller in Black Adam. Which is not good enough. You're not going to make $1 billion. You're not going to make $800 million. You're not even going to make $700 million off of unknown characters. No matter how gory and all, it's not enough. You have to have an exceptionally good movie, by the way, to even make that kind of money. I'm just saying. Again, it's just a guy who cares about entertainment and movies and seeing the best for a movie that's talking. I'm not trying to bash Black Adam. My point is, I would wish the best for the movie. I hope it does well. If it does well, great. Great. Then ignore all my comments and ignore us as fans. But if it doesn't do great, we know why. Kept on dropping the ball all the time. And then we got these stupid apologists apologizing for these guys instead of holding them accountable so that they would make the necessary changes so that they could actually have a successful movie like they want it to be. But anyway, God so loved this world that he gave us a chance. So that's how it goes. So I just wanted to say that because, man, they're making this thing way too complicated than it needs to be. This is a simple open and shut case. Link Black Adam to Zack Snyder's Justice League and move forward. Let Black Adam be an addition to the Snyderverse. He doesn't need his own universe. That's too much. It's not going to make bank. It's not going to make box office if you have everything contained in all these unknown characters. Ain't nobody going to be so interested in them that they're going to go and watch. That's why it doesn't have the buzz. It has a lot of great ingredients, but it will not have the buzz because nobody knows these guys. And they're not on a brand that is putting out hits. You know, that's the other thing with Marvel. Marvel was giving you hit after hit. So when Guardians of the Galaxy came out there, people were expecting a hit. They're not expecting a hit for DC. They're not. So there's all of these factors you have to factor in. Why you have... I feel for The Rock in a way because he's working his ass off 10 years in the making. It is what it is, though. Whatever. You know, I I try to put contributions together so that people, so that the most the situation can be. I'm trying to contribute something constructive here. So that's what I'm saying. I feel for all the people, you know, who invested all their time and energy into this thing. Because I look at the costuming. The costuming is pretty meticulous, on Black Adam and so on. It's not frivolous, and you could see there was a lot of work put into it. The way how the sceneries, the CGI, everything. There's a lot of work was put into this movie. So they didn't cut any corners, and it would just be so sad if this movie doesn't rake in the kind of money it's supposed to rake in if everything's optimized and everybody's on board. This movie could, it's a movie that really could break $1 billion if they just listen to the fans. If they just listen to the fans. This is a movie that could probably have done that. Because it had all the ingredients. Even though it ripped off a lot of things from Zack Snyder's Justice League, the best comic book movie out there. To me, that's pretty flattering. Even if you don't acknowledge it, it's still flattering that you would borrow from there. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because the property is Warner Brothers property anyway, so they're not gonna penalize you for copyright. So you're free to do that. 1 second. And mind you, I find the music very creative, by the way, by Lauren Baus. Just saying. So I don't think he should be offended because he was offended about something somebody said, not me. And I replied to him. I said, hey, man, that's actually flattering that you would borrow from this guy or borrow from that guy. Or steal from that guy, steal from that guy. Because, listen, the point is, at the end of the day, you take the best from the best. Why not? Take the attributes and put it into your creativity. I do it all the time, too. So what? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying you plagiarize. I'm not saying that at all. But if you add certain ingredients from different songs into your song, there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't see... his music is really good, though. It's good. Again, this movie has a lot of great attributes to it. I just don't know if it'll do well enough to capitalize on those things because you're going to miss... It's a sizable part of your audience is not going to be present to watch it. Anyway, that's what I got to say. I'll catch you guys later. I'm Christ and Disciple. Peace, guys.